So are some pilots afraid of heights? If you are afraid of heights and want to be a pilot, can you still make that happen? So I heard a funny saying once that if you want to be a pilot and you're afraid of heights, then you can only be a crop duster pilot since they fly low. So of course that's nonsense, right? Since being a crop duster pilot, you still have to go through all the normal pilot training, which requires flying higher and doing maneuvers at higher altitudes. But back to the question at hand, right? Are some pilots afraid of heights? And can you still be a pilot if you are? So the answer, surprisingly to both, is yes. So believe it or not, statistics actually show that over 50% of pilots are afraid of heights in one form or another. So if you want to be a pilot and are afraid of heights, that's not really something in itself that would disqualify you. So let's dig into this a little bit. So when you talk about being afraid of heights, what comes to mind? Probably it's something like this, standing near the edge of a cliff, or being on an observation deck somewhere, or maybe driving over a high bridge, or especially being on a ladder up on the roof trying to clean the gutters or something, right? But interestingly enough, put those same people in the cockpit to fly an airplane, and they're fine. So then what's the big difference here? So one theory is that being afraid of heights is actually a fear of not being in control. Or said differently, you have a fear of an uncontrolled descent if you were to fall. So if you're goofing around on the ladder or the edge of a cliff and you start to stumble, there could be a point of no return for you. So in this way, it's healthy, right? It's like your body has some internal mechanism built in which is trying to protect you. So it's urging you to stay away from that ledge, or don't climb way up onto the top of that ladder. So, this might come back to your body wanting to stay in control of the environment. So then this might partially explain why that same person who won't go on a high ladder has no problem piloting an aircraft. In an aircraft, you're in control. You're in control of the climb, you're in control of the descent. And this is why I think many of us, really love flying, because of the freedom that it actually gives you. You have control to fly over some cities, you can fly, low over sparsely populated areas, and there's, an extreme sense of freedom when you're flying. So now if you get in a plane and you still have a fear of heights, can you overcome this? So I think many times, yes, and much of it is mental, right? So just being, strapped in, you have a secure feeling in the aircraft that can build your trust and feeling of security being in an airplane. Also, when you are flying, especially when you are new, there are so many tasks you need to be thinking about and doing. You won't have time to be afraid of heights. When learning to fly, you'll be focusing on, situational awareness, monitoring instruments, thinking about what your plan is for the next maneuver or the next airport you're going to be landing at, and your mind won't even be thinking about the fear of heights. And then after being in an airplane starts to become natural, the feeling will hopefully start to subside. In fact, after you start learning to fly, you'll realize that altitude is one of your best friends when you're flying. And the altitude above you is useless. So to learn more about that and other useless things about flying, you can click the video above. So thanks everyone for watching today. We'll hope you join us on a future flight, and thanks for flying J1 Aviation.